question to our panelists. So now, as the role is reversal, we don't want to break that tradition. So we want to ask you. We've seen your LinkedIn profile. What is the one interesting thing, which is not on your LinkedIn profile?
Okay, I need like 2 minutes for this. But from the top of my mind, if I think my failures are not there. So like it's all about achievements. It's all about whatever I've done. But sadly, I could not list my failures on LinkedIn, like where I've failed. So it would be really interesting if LinkedIn can come up with a feature where like people can actually list down their top 3 failures as well.
I think you can always put it as my top 3 learnings.
Yeah,
they say that you don't either you learn, either you win or you learn. So you know, you can always put it as my 3 learnings.
And what about you, Benjamin? Like, what is one thing where like which is not there on your LinkedIn profile?
There are we get this asked so many times that we have over a period of time created and constructed answers for every scenario. So believe me, I have quite a few answers, but then just to give one of them away would be I am a avid cricket player, so I spend a lot of time on weekends whenever I can on the field. Now, of course, it's not possible, so it's not there. I'm definitely not there on my LinkedIn profile, and I play as much. I'm new to Gurgaon as a city, so I'm just trying to. The good thing about this place is that there are a lot of grounds. So I'm just waiting for the pandemic to get over and be out on the field as well.
Absolutely. And what about you, Santosh?
Oh, my love for food. I can't express my love for food on the LinkedIn profile. Then, you know, all my career, whatever I've done will go and the food will be there. So for that I have Instagram. So yeah, so that's
Perfect.
where I am.
Perfect. So let's come to the business and let's talk something about LinkedIn. My first question would be to you, Santosh. There are so many platforms out there. There's so like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, then TikTok is coming up. But why do you think LinkedIn matters for people who are working in the impact development space, people who are in the branding ecosystem? Is why LinkedIn, why they need to post or why they need to be active on LinkedIn?
Interesting question. So see, every platform has its pluses and minuses and a need. Hence, the whole ecosystem. You have a Facebook, you have a Twitter, you have a Insta, and then you have a LinkedIn. If you ask me why LinkedIn, I think probably this is the one place you don't lie. This is the one place. If I am writing that I'm the agency lead of India of LinkedIn, I'm actually an agency lead of India. This is the platform which is built with a lot of trust. This is the only platform where you can the mindset is different. There is a mindset of spending my time on the personal social media platforms, versus a LinkedIn. That mindset is investing. You come here to read articles, you come here to see what your peers are doing, what your company is all about. You're here to get a job offer or look out for job opportunities. You look out here for finding your customers. So this is the mindset is entirely different. And especially people from the social impact space, people from, I would feel that anybody who is contributing to business is actually should be on LinkedIn. Ben, if you want to add something, I think would be.
So I just take one important thing from your what you said, like trust. And this is a very important thing, trust and empathy, because we are talking about these times where we are in a very stressful time. Benjamin, I want to ask from you, how do you feel like LinkedIn has actually built that trust, or where you feel that trust is coming from? If you can just share some light on that.
So, right, you're completely right when you say that trust is the most important factor, especially in today's time and space. And where LinkedIn differs is exactly that point, trust. If you, for example, see the Business Insider Digital Trust Report, which has been coming out since 2017, and LinkedIn has consistently ranked as #1 trusted social media platform, which is a big deal, and we are extremely proud of it, because in today's environment, when there's so much of flux when it comes to news, fake information, and everyone is equally responsible for it. And LinkedIn, I can very confidently say, leads that pack when it comes to social media. We do extremely. We take our the factor of being true, honest, and giving out detailed information very, very seriously. For example, let me just tell you, a lot of people might not be aware that LinkedIn is also a great platform for you to consume news. Okay. Now, we have something called the Daily Rundown Report, which is on LinkedIn, which is it's like a amalgamation, a collation of the most important news of the day, which comes in the Daily Rundown Report. And our LinkedIn editors make sure the news is also comes to you from the most trusted sources. So the kind of publishers who are featured, the kind of reports which are featured in the Daily Rundown Report are only from the most credible news platforms of the world. For example, even in India, we have MyGov, which puts out a lot of credible stats and information which directly comes from the Ministry of Health, especially in these times of COVID. It is a part of the Daily Rundown Report, which comes under LinkedIn's official coronavirus updates. Now, this is just our way to ensure that only the most trusted information comes your way. And like Santosh mentioned earlier, there can only be one Santosh who heads the agency for LinkedIn, and you will never find a duplicate profile, which is a big issue in a lot of other platforms. So I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but if it does happen, we make sure we weed it out.
Yeah.
The cadence is very strong.
Sorry to break you, Benjamin, over here. Like, but this is really interesting what you just said. Like, there are only verified, or like there will only be one nihal.rustgi or one Benjamin or one Santosh, as compared to other platforms where you will find a lot of profiles with the same name, lot of different other things, just to actually put on some heavyweights or put just to make the things trending and everything. I just want to know the content which is coming. Like Benjamin, this question is for you. How relevant this content becomes in these times, like when you talk about, because other platforms, the and I remember having a conversation with you, because LinkedIn is coming across as a where you have meaningful conversations, because other platforms definitely the trends are completely different. If I see the trends on LinkedIn, so what do you what do you suggest right now, like how are the trends or what kind of conversations are happening on LinkedIn?
So, for example, let me tell you a few stats which are currently, there as part of the system. We have observed over 40% of LinkedIn members are reading the news more frequently. Now, and of this, overall, 30% of LinkedIn members are checking social media more often. Now, naturally, it's a very tangible and straightforward fact because of the current scenario that we are in. But when you relate that to the number of engagements on LinkedIn with the topics, for example, coronavirus, naturally, hashtag coronavirus is one of the most, it's the number one trending hashtag currently on LinkedIn. But when you move away from the coronavirus and the COVID and the pandemic issues, which obviously are top of mind right now for most of us, when it comes to LinkedIn, we are seeing more and more people talk about leadership. We are seeing more and more people talk about marketing. We are seeing more and more people talk about hiring, solutions, jobs. So that is where LinkedIn kind of differs as compared to some of the other platforms, because when you're coming here, apart, while COVID is front and center for most of us right now, LinkedIn also is talking a lot about business continuity. LinkedIn is also talking a lot about solutions. LinkedIn is also talking a lot about, I mean, it's literally not LinkedIn, it's the members, the audiences on LinkedIn as a platform. They're talking more about leadership. These indicate to us a clear, a hint towards the kind of content which people want to engage with. Because
so that's really insightful, I guess. And what you spoke about, like how people are having conversations. So jumping back to Santosh, it's very interesting, like how the other platform trends have come up. Like some trends are fun, Dalgona Coffee came in, like, and other things are running across the platform. But in LinkedIn, I see a lot of serious stuff is happening, a lot of meaningful, which is there for the community, by the community. Do you think that's the whole essence of LinkedIn, or is LinkedIn is actually becoming more like where storytellers are actually giving out their personal stories as well, or it is just about business?
Okay, so like Ben mentioned, that business continuity is in everybody's mind. Jobs are everybody's mind. Members are actually worried that whether I'll have a job or not. So those trending are definitely there. The most fun you see on LinkedIn today is a hashtag work from home, and it's a very interesting fact. So we have our weekly calls with around 3 or 4 teams, and we have themes for every call, and people are actually putting those stories. So during this time, storytelling becomes very important. It's very important for an organization or an organizational leader to have his heart at the right place and talk about empathy, talk about well-being, talk about healthcare for their own employees, and make sure that they give kudos to employees, and tell them that be on LinkedIn, sorry, be healthy, be correct. And those human stories are also coming a lot. I'm sure you open a LinkedIn, giving you a classic example. Lego is doing an extremely good work with, they started this work from home hashtag, and how they are encouraging their employees who are working from home and doing it. I have been working for last 20 years, Nihal, in sales, and I never thought that a salesperson can work from home. I never thought. People came to me and said, can I take, I'm not coming to the office, I'm working from home. I always laughed and said, how can a salesperson work from home? But that's the new reality. And the companies need to see the new realities today and put those stories out, which actually a lot of members and a lot of people are doing it on the platform.
True.
Nihal, I think you're on mute.
So you mentioned about Lego, and just taking it from there, let's say, like, because in this webinar, a lot of CEOs, a lot of leaders are there who have joined us. I would just want to know three things which they need to keep in mind while posting on LinkedIn. What should be the strategy for a leadership? I'm talking about the leadership communication over here. What three things they should keep in mind while posting, or what three things they should consider while posting in this Corona or COVID times?
Okay, I'll tell you, quite an interesting question. And I'll tell you, things have changed a lot, like you're saying. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You would have asked me this question about 2.5 months back, what a leadership should post. I will say that talk about business, talk about strategy, talk about what they're looking forward. During this time, I think it's very, very important for, this is a really time of uncertainty, and it really calls for reassuring leadership. Most of the leaders who are on the call today, I'm too junior to give them an advice, but I can tell you that what other leaders are doing on the platform, which is taken up very well. This is the time when your employees, your stakeholders, your extended family, market as whole, everybody needs a reassuring story from you. I'm saying, if there is a bad news to be informed to your employees, saying that we can't continue our business if we're not going for a salary cut, I'm sure, just let it come out from the right place, from your own LinkedIn profile, and talk to your people. Tell them why this company is taking a decision. There are two ways of communicating a decision. One, I get an email and that's it, and there is a clear-cut silence. Then these conversations start building up in social media, and then it's very difficult for a company to come back. I think this is the right time when the leadership should get up and reassure, talk about well-being, talk about fun at work, talk about hex of work from home. Probably, what am I doing? Am I cooking? Am I helping my wife to cook or clean the house? Tell that human story, because a junior most employee also want to see how human his company is. So it's quite important to come up with these kind of stories. And I'll tell you very interesting hashtag which is very popular for LinkedIn guys. It's called walking to work. We have our vice president, his name is Penry Price, and Penry he stays in New York, and he walks to office every day, and with a coffee in hand, and he does a video blog called Walking to Work, and he talks about anything and everything. And now, just because he's work from home, actually the lot of conversation happening around what is happening to walk to work, and there are a lot of people who are actually coming up with their own ideas.
Yeah.
So have a voice. Probably find a topic which you feel that can resonate to all the people who are involved with your organization, with you, and then talk about it.
That's fantastic, Benjamin. Coming to you, and you deal with a lot of government agencies, you deal with a lot of leaders as well, and you would have seen the trends on LinkedIn. How the government is taking this platform, like whether they are communicating, how the leaders are communicating in this platform, on this platform. If you can just tell me something about and tell people about it.
So I wanted to just add one more person who I really like from Santosh's last answer is you know in today's time and world, travel and tourism and hospitality as sector is extremely affected, and it's a very really a category which is really facing the heat. So the CEO of Marriott, Arnie Sorensen, he put a video out on LinkedIn where he directly talked to employees. He is the world's largest hotel chain's CEO, and he talks to literally thousands and thousands of employees who work with him. And he put out a very compassionate video which he posted on LinkedIn. You should check that out. It is really good, and it's a great example of how you can at this during this times be compassionate and talk directly, and it provides a lot of confidence to the employees who are working with it. Now, coming to your question in terms of political and leaders that we work with, very, I mean, coming home to our leader, the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, he is an influencer on LinkedIn. Some people might not be aware of that. He posts quite actively. In fact, I think just last week, if I'm not wrong, he posted a post-COVID scenario on LinkedIn. It was a long-form post. This was a post which Mr. Modi curated and created specifically for LinkedIn. Of course, is with inputs from his team, and it has done tremendously well. He is very insightful. He has given specific pointers, and he opens his heart out as to what he thinks the situation is for the country. You should check that out. Now, apart from that, a lot of other political leaders. For example, one of my favorites is Justin Trudeau, who is the Prime Minister of Canada. The New Zealand Prime Minister, Jacinda Ardern. All these leaders proactively, directly talk to audiences on LinkedIn. Now, the reason why they choose LinkedIn, apart from your various other social media platforms, is also the audience that exists. Because when you're talking to audiences on LinkedIn, be it Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, who is also a very eminent state leader who uses LinkedIn as a platform to communicate to businesses, because you're talking to business leaders, you're talking to the people who are there right now watching our webinar. You're talking to the people who are CEOs of nonprofits, who are founders of startups, who are people working in the manufacturing setup. You have a direct voice to these people. You can talk about the economic schemes that you're coming up with, the packages that you're coming up with. These are the topics of conversation right now. When things were normal, when things were, pre-COVID scenario, or hopefully one day the post-COVID scenario, when the focus will be more on how can businesses avail a certain scheme, how can you avail a certain income tax incentives. These are very important points which any business leader would be interested in knowing, and that is what these leaders want to communicate through LinkedIn as a platform.
Thank you, Benjamin. Like
Nihal, you are on mute again. Sorry.
So sorry. Santosh, I just want to know from you. Firstly, I just want, if you can just write down in the chat window the 3 things which leaders should consider while communicating. But that you can do simultaneously. But another question from Benjamin, which I got, was like leaders are communicating. They are definitely, because this is the platform where people want to have meaningful conversations, but for organizations, coming back, like, because these are development organization, majority of them are development organization. Do you think for an organization, and for a organization like an NGO or a not-for-profit, or which is there in the impact development space, how do you feel they should communicate right now?
Very frankly, I think non-profits might just have an edge when it comes to this current scenario. The reason why I say this is because I will borrow from Santosh's one of his first answers, which is storytelling is extremely important in any communication that you put forward. For example, uh, don't you think a celebrity coming into your washroom and asking you to use a particular uh, disinfectant versus uh, a boy running away from home, sitting at a train station and not wanting to go back, and the only reason he goes back is because he wants jalebis. uh, you know which example or which really hits the chords? People who would know this would understand this example, would understand that storytelling is imminent in the creative or the content which you're putting out. And non-profits as a category of business and as a category of industry that you exist, storytelling naturally comes to you as a, in everything that you do, be it women empowerment issues, be it child labor, be it even businesses, various categories that you operate in. If you are able to ensure every post that you do somewhere hits home in terms of an emotional storytelling, a clear message in terms of storytelling, if you can incorporate that in your post, I think it will hit home. And I think it works really well, especially in during these times and efforts, rather than just plain
Yeah,
stats.
yeah, I definitely got you. So, somebody shared the screen, and I'm just stopping it. I'm so sorry. So, one thing is, I just want to know, Santosh, from you. My question is from you,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
which is like, when this, like, a lot of people, and we have received questions on this particular thing as well. There's clear communication on Facebook, what needs to be done during COVID. There's a lot of communication. I'm so sorry. I'll just do this. Like, just give me a moment. There's a lot of communication on Facebook. There's a lot of communication on Twitter, what they are doing for COVID. Like, Twitter has started this Blue Twitter, and they are doing some activities. Facebook is doing tremendous work with from healthcare. People want to know what LinkedIn is doing right now and how LinkedIn is actually helping the community.
Uh, so I'll tell you what, LinkedIn as a company, we have something called LinkedIn for Good, which is not during COVID, but it is always on. We all have to be, as an employee, we have to own a cause and make sure that whatever we contribute, whatever we get a contribution, the company doubles that. So that's something which is always on. But during this particular time, what LinkedIn thought, we yes, it's a very eminent thing what LinkedIn is doing, and I think we wanted to actually bring a real change. So what LinkedIn has done, LinkedIn has actually so we have, you know, that we have a 4 line of business. We call it hire, market, sell, and learn. So marketing solution is which me and Ben are part of. We sell advertising space and audience to the marketers and advertisers. The same way we have a LinkedIn talent solution where we go to recruiters and sell a product called Recruiter, wherein recruitment agencies or HR hire better people. So that recruiter license comes with a price. So what LinkedIn has done, LinkedIn has actually gone ahead and announced for the next 3 months, which is April, May, and June, you will have a free job posting for all the essential hirings across the globe. What we have seen is that there is an increase of almost about 35% of job posting for medical practitioners on the platform. And we said that's where we can make the difference, and hence it is being posted. You can straight away go, there's a link on talent solution page, go click on it and post your job ads. It will be treated as par at what a paid recruiter works. It is not only for healthcare, but it is for healthcare, warehousing professionals, probably supermarket, basically any essential services during this COVID. And I think that makes a lot of difference, because that's not only monetary, but at the same time, this is the need of the hour, and which LinkedIn can actually make a difference, apart from, I mean, like giving free credits to run some business continuity.
That's really brilliant, and I think that's the need of the hour, where people need to have that empathy, and where people can actually go out and hire people.
Yeah.
Santosh, a lot of questions again that has come up is like, LinkedIn has a better organic reach compared to other platforms, and people have asked us particularly on this. Like, if I post on LinkedIn, there are high chances that it reaches out to number of people than other compared platform, because over there you need to spend a lot on content, you need to promote your content, then only it reaches a certain market. What is your stance on it? Like, is it true, or like, or yes, definitely LinkedIn works completely different from other platforms?
See, there are two ways to disseminate content on LinkedIn, whether it's a personal content or you're coming in from your company page. One is a organic, which is very simple. You go and post a link, post a video, organically it goes. The second one is you post that link and then you decide where you want to, who all you want this ad to be seen. That becomes a sponsored post. Sponsored post, I'm keeping it aside because that's not the need of the hour. Whatever you are putting on LinkedIn page or whatever you are putting as a content on your LinkedIn profile, it has got 100% reach.
Wow.
When I say 100% reach, you are a company, say an NGO, and you have a company page and you have, say, 100,000 followers. You have posted a video, it will reach out to all those 100,000 people.
Wow, that's fabulous.
So that's the power of organic reach on LinkedIn, which is, I'm like, I don't want to comment on the other platforms, which I'm not very sure what is the percentage, but I say
I can comment on that.
Yeah. So I can say that. So the thing is that is the power. So what happens? There is a strategy. So when suppose you have a new LinkedIn page, you put a lot of content, you put a lot of hashtags, not a lot of hashtags, but the relevant hashtags on your content. Tag a lot of people. Like I'm saying, if I'm writing about women empowerment, probably I will tag one of the epidome, one of the person who's really working and doing a good job in that field. Tag him and start the conversation. Based on that conversation, people will start following. Somebody actually wrote that whether on the company page footer, if you put a LinkedIn logo, does it help? Definitely it helps. All these area it helps. Always make sure that your communication, your signature have either a LinkedIn logo and as well as Facebook, Twitter, but make sure that you have where people can follow. If you don't have enough followers, go. I mean, like it's always open to put some marketing dollars to acquire followers. And once you have a substantial followers, and then you can keep generating content. But
yeah,
one last point,
yeah,
Nihal,
yeah,
always have a content strategy. Always have a continuity. Do not be, say, I put 10 articles in this week and for the next 4 weeks, I'm not doing anything. Whether it's for your personal or for company. I think that's very important.
I think I have a follow-up question for you, Santosh. If you have seen the, if you have seen the polls, like 52% of the people, they have posted once a month on LinkedIn. Compared like to other platforms, I think they are definitely too much active. What do you think about this? Or they need to be active, or like, what do you think about this?
See, I'll tell you what, fortunately, not a right time, but LinkedIn is becoming far more important in our lives. We all are worried about our business continuity. If I'm a business owner, I am worried about my job, whether it's there or not because of the COVID situation. I am worried about how am I going to look better, how I can enhance my career, right? Anybody who's in working or in their jobs. I saw there are most of the people are on LinkedIn, but 50% of them log on once a month. I'm saying you are actually, there are two ways to look at it. One, you are getting all the information. Today, information is available in abundance. I mean, like, I don't need to go to a Times of India to read the news. My Twitter feed is as good as my news feed. Or else my WhatsApp is as good as. I mean, like the kind of WhatsApp group I have in family or friends or colleagues, the news comes there. I think more news consumption is happening there. But at the same time, the right kind of a conversation, you are missing out. I'm not saying that I work for LinkedIn and hence I'm telling you to be there once a day or once in 2 days or every hour. But it is very important the kind of conversation which is happening there, you are actually missing out. There are long form posts, there are video assets, which people are putting it and making sure. And unfortunately, what happens, you are not active on the platform for a month and a half. There's absolutely no saliency. This I'm talking for individual as well as for brand. There's absolutely no saliency. There are no followers. People don't know about you. People have forgotten you in that thing. And after a month, when you look out for a job, you come on LinkedIn and you say, "Oh, I'm not getting any traction." You put a content. You don't get the conversation starting, and you feel that, "Oh, I don't think this platform is good." And then again, you come back after 2 months.
So it's $1 million question to you, Santosh. I'm sorry to break you in again, but it's $1 million question. And this has been the most asked question to me in person, like, how many times should I post? It's like a question, how many times should I post on LinkedIn? whether I should post daily, whether I should post weekly, whether I should post monthly? How many times, according to you, think a person should post?
I would say that, and it is in it goes with all the social platform which I follow, and I do it. I think follow your heart. Do not overdo. One thing is very, I mean, like, yes, definitely logging once a month and just writing, hi, looking out for a job, or hi, how can I sell my product, is absolutely not the right way. But at the same time, overdoing your content is also not. Uh, Stick to your storytelling, stick to your expertise. I mean, like, if I start writing about how an NGO should run, I don't think there is any authenticity.
Absolutely.
If I've read a report from IAB saying that how post COVID or during COVID advertising business is going to change and how marketeers are thinking, probably you will take a notice and you will read that report. So have your expertise right. Make sure that you put it. And on an average, we say it's always good to put a content at least 3 to 4 times a week, if not more. If you're doing once a day also, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. But do not overdo. But if you have two interesting points to cover in one single day, do not stop yourself as well.
Absolutely. Benjamin, coming to you, and again, like when I spoke about the $1 million question, I think that's I'll be asking you a $2 million question, because people want to know a lot about fundraising and how a platform like LinkedIn can be used for fundraising. And how do you see a platform like LinkedIn can be used for fundraising?
So, we don't have a specific product for fundraising. That's true. And you can't really approach any platform for that matter, be it Facebook or LinkedIn, by an objective of only fundraising. Because if fundraising is your objective, yes, it is possible to do, I think. How can you do it? There are various ways of how, and I will have a more generic answer for you. So, for example, uh, the way you communicate with your target audience on LinkedIn, which could be companies, which could be individual people, is through your posts. Now, I will borrow from Santosh's earlier answer, which is, and you asked, how many times should a person post? Number one is you have to be active on LinkedIn as a platform. And in fact, I would venture out to say that you should post probably at least a minimum of 2 times a day. That is what I think. If you want to be active, if you want to efficiently use a platform, be it fundraising, that is a number one criteria. What do you post? There are various ways of posting things. For example, uh, on LinkedIn, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 p.m. is an optimal time to post, because LinkedIn as a platform is used maximum during this time. So if fundraising is your objective, make sure you follow the right people. Make sure you know you're working in tribal welfare. You are working in the field of child labor. You're working in the field of so many non-profits exist, on different platforms. You know the kind of people you're reaching out to. So for example, if you want to reach out to corporates and align them with your uh, NGOs or your non-profits, make sure you're reaching out to the executives in that corporate, in that particular company or in that particular industry. Make sure you communicate through your posts. You show the kind of work that you're doing in that space. Make sure you highlight the kind of success you've had in that space. Make sure you highlight the kind of reach you have in that space. Make sure the requirements that you have in that space. So, and make sure all this comes out in your sponsored updates. It comes out in your, sorry, not sponsored, your content updates, in your video messages, in your static images, everything. Make sure all of this is very clearly articulated, so that when the right people from your TGs, which is a specific sector, it could be even government, if you are looking at support from them, make sure that they're clearly able to see your requirements in that post of yours. And when you consistently and everyday post the same thing in a different copy, in a different image, in a different style, your followers will every day get to see these posts, and they will be able to recognize them.
I completely buy your points, whatever you have said, and makes more sense on a platform like LinkedIn, particularly because the trust factor is so high over there. So getting more potential, getting more leads for fundraising also gets increased. Do you agree to this, Santosh? Because the trust factor, the verified profiles, and the real profiles are there.
Yeah.
And so I'm just taking one analogy because I'm sure you won't have that data like how fundraisers has utilized LinkedIn, but how brands has utilized LinkedIn in creating leads or potentials that is comparatively high on LinkedIn compared to other platforms.
Yes. So I'll tell you, there was a study which was done by Demand where, especially on B2B reporting and lead generation, LinkedIn came up as the number one lead generation platform.
Wow,
Almost about four out of five people, our members are actually driving business decisions.
great. I
So
think it's,
that's
yeah, yeah.
that kind of an audience is very difficult for you to get it. And just to answer your question, Nihal, I may not have the fundraising, but I just wrote a very this thing. There's a published case study which is International Coach Federation. They, by just using LinkedIn alone, that's only one platform, actually reached out to their annual member goal. By just using LinkedIn, they almost enrolled 1,900 new members in a month, which was their annual volunteer
Wow,
recruitment growth.
wow,
So
wow.
those kind of things are doing. So if you ask us, I think our biggest category for advertising is tech. And when I'm talking about tech, a company like an Infosys or a large tech enterprises,
Absolutely.
and for them, lead generation is very, very important. And hence LinkedIn has got lead generation products which you can use it for using marketing solution. I mean, like, it's a very basic marketing term: inward funnel, awareness, intent, and then action. And then you use the lead generation form at the bottom of the funnel and make sure that you generate leads. Number two, there is another division of ours which I was telling you, which was hire, sell, market, and learn. Sell is actually LinkedIn sales solution. It's got a product called Sales Navigator, which
Yeah,
is social selling. It is just a layer before your cold call. So you don't know who you want to reach out to. I'm just hypothetically saying that somebody want to reach out to a large fundraiser or a company which can work with this NGO for their CSR activity. And you've identified that company, but you don't know whom to contact. You actually are just putting it, you're using the Sales Navigator tool to see who are the right people, sending them a one-on-one email before you go for the personal meeting. And it's a very effective tool. And then, Nihal, what we discussed yesterday on, NGO, what they can do on fundraising.
yes,
So they can use Sales Navigator. We are unfortunately not the expertise and we don't sell Navigator. It's the team. If anybody is interested, we can always put you onto them. But that's where it is. The key decision makers are here, like you mentioned. Trust, because you as a NGO, the biggest challenge for you to is to be, rubbing your shoulder with the trusted platforms. Your ad can't come after a fake news post, which is
true.
actually getting bashing all over the place. So that environment, so it's a right environment, like Benjamin loves to say this, and I think I've heard Benjamin say it. And I think, Benjamin, you want to talk about the right environment, the right engagement drives your right results. It's very simple. So whether it's a brand selling to their stakeholders or creating value for their founders and stakeholders, or NGO which is actually creating difference in the society, it's very simple. The
If I
right environment, right communication drives you the right result.
So if I have to sum up for everyone, I'll just say like a few things like why LinkedIn is really important for fundraising is one, that's the most trustworthy platform where you can find the leads and everything. Second, it provides the organic reach, which no other platform provides you. So let's say if you have a network of like 500 people or 200 people or 1,000 or 100,000, it reaches out to every individual. So that's the power. And another thing is LinkedIn is really powerful on the chat and the messaging, because if you reach out to somebody as I said for the lead generation through emails which you get complimentary every month, definitely that's also one thing which people can explore for more fundraising campaigns. And the kind of content work on LinkedIn is fantastic, because again comes back to the storytelling, it comes back to the raw, the real things. It's not like the other platform where the trend can be curated. So this is very interesting. And so I'll just take one more question on the COVID situation right now, because this is the need of the hour, and where people are very much stressed. organizations are stressed, and Benjamin or Santosh, anybody can choose to answer this. What is the one thing right now they should keep in mind while doing any communication on LinkedIn? One thing, only one thing, not like asking you too many things. One thing they should keep in mind while posting on LinkedIn. So Santosh or Benjamin, anybody can answer.
Then go
I have
ahead.
just one word. I will not explain it. I think the word is sufficient. Transparency. That for me, for any brand, be it NGO or be it a corporate, transparency and everything associated transparency, which means be direct and clear with your employees, be true and present a true and effective picture to your, your vendors, your the people who you do business with. Transparency encompasses all this, and it is probably the single most important thing at this
That's
time.
really interesting. That like because transparency is again, it's a very important thing. Santosh, coming to you because you lead the agency and you know the creative side. You have explored the different platforms. You have the experience, and you would be the right person to answer this question as well. People are saying that because all the NGOs, all these development organizations, they do not have too much budget. If you have seen this as well, the poll which we just ran, like almost 4% of them are actually above, like have a spend of 2 lakh rupees, but majority of them lies under the 50,000 rupees. So they are on a very shoestring budget. They develop like, how do you see, because they, let's say if they create a content for Facebook, can it be published the same, can they publish the same content on LinkedIn, or should they curate something different, or do they really need high quality content on LinkedIn?
Nihal, good question. Unfortunately, it's vice versa. The content which you've made for LinkedIn does not work on Facebook, and it's the same way. The content piece can be the same. See where the real might goes. Suppose you have put a report, and you're putting a post which is based on some research or based on some back work. There, that's where the money goes. The creative is just a copy, and a copy is very important to have a different tone when it comes to LinkedIn and when it comes to any other social media platform. My suggestion would be that you have in-house capability. I'm sure these people will have, because they understand their brand. The story here is going to be is a little different from then on Facebook. Uh, when you have a video content, I think video is got a very easy and amazing way of dissemination. It always works. Shorter form works on Facebook. The same works on LinkedIn. While we support, you can actually put a 60-minute video on Facebook on LinkedIn, but we always say keep a smaller video. So if your video is set, yes, it works. The body copy actually needs to be changed and changed to be a little bit different. Number one. Number two, please have a call to action, because that's very important. So that's not going to change. It is just that if you ask me to give an example, like in the starting, I mentioned what is the mindset of a member on LinkedIn and Facebook and how it is different. On Facebook, it is I'm spending my time, and on LinkedIn, I'm investing my time. So if you are giving an information on your body copy, which is more fun and relaxed, probably that may not work on LinkedIn, because I have come here to learn something from you. I am here for a brand or an NGO to tell me how they are changing the world and how I can help them, rather than a feel good story on Facebook. So you have to make a little bit of difference.
This is
You don't
really
need to spend too
interesting.
much of money.
Yeah,
You don't.
this is really interesting. So taking on this further, I have another follow-up question, because all these organizations work on a lot of reports, a lot of impact reports. They do a lot of analysis, because when you are doing impact, you need to really study what is in depth and how you actually engage with the people, what should be the right strategy. So there are too many reports and everything. And I think neither Facebook, Instagram, or any other network provides long format content.
Yeah.
And
That's true.
so can I use LinkedIn for long format content? And what is the like reach of long format content? Is it good? Is it bad?
Uh, Go on, Santosh.
Yeah, so you know what, I think I was discussing this with Ben. I think I wanted to bring that point in the webinar sometime. Thankfully, it came as a question, and I didn't need to plug in. Uh, uh, LinkedIn is the only social media platform which allows you to do a long form post like a blog. There are various blog sites available, WordPress and Blogspot and stuff, but that you need to promote it separately. That can you read my blog on this LinkedIn? I go to my profile, there is a long form post. Honestly, have I written a long form post? No, I have not written a long form post. I really want to. In fact, I was talking to my wife and said that this is the life of a retirement life I'm leading, because I'm getting a pension, I'm working, I'm keeping consulting kind of a thing, I'm keeping myself busy. But is this is going to be my retirement life? Am I ready for that? It's a great long form post which I want to write. And to come into your second part of question, how does a long form post does? Uh, we don't have a exact numbers whether it does well or not, but I have seen that there has been an increase in the in by the members posting a long form post. Yes, the consumption of feed is going to be far more than the long form post, because snackable content is the problem. I don't use the word problem, but it is the new norm for millennials, right? It is a new norm. People want more in less, so that's why Twitter had only 140 characters. Just know everything. I don't know whether you know Flipboard. Flipboard is a beautiful app, just all the news concise. I mean, like news in short, news in 60 words. That's very popular because everybody wants a snackable content. But when it comes to LinkedIn, again, if I want to know more, I will write. And a long form post allows you to put videos in it, allows you to put pictures in it, make a nice story out of it. So yes, it's growing very fast, and a lot of people are getting interested in writing long form
Because
posts.
I see
And
people,
example is there
please go
now for Mr. Modi. What he posted recently was a long form post. You should take a look at examples of Mr. N. Chandrasekhar, who was the chairman of Tata Sons. You should look at the MD of Accenture. Uh, these are all extremely giant leaders in the industry, and they engage very regularly in writing long form posts, because people who are interested in reading the kind of content they put out, they would want to hear more from their leaders. They would want to understand, because these are leaders, and it really, really works. These are some examples, and you should check them out.
No, definitely. I think because there's so much content, because I have seen, I'm working in the development space. There's so much content which is coming out from the system. And you do so many research, you do so many impact reports, you do feasibility studies, so many things are coming. And I think this LinkedIn should be used as a platform where you can actually publish all these insights in a long form post. And I have personally written few, and the kind of reach I have got, it's better than my blog. It's better than my blog, honestly. So definitely looking forward to those long form posts. I think we have covered majorly, but one last important thing where people would really want to know how they can make their own profiles better. Like what are the three things, Benjamin or Santosh again, three things where you feel that if you got this, definitely your LinkedIn profile is much better than the rest. So that hacks and trips.
Um, okay, so I will probably give a couple, and maybe Santosh can give a couple.
Yeah.
I mean, number one is just like Santosh mentioned, while you can use your same content on Twitter and Facebook and put it on LinkedIn too, but it might not be optimal strategy. You need to change accordingly. Similarly, even for your individual profile, make sure you just don't put the same profile picture which you put on a Facebook or Instagram. Make sure your profile picture on LinkedIn is a clear headshot. It's more in a professional setting, if you understand, rather than you whiling away on a beach in Goa. That probably is not the right picture. Uh, you should make sure your summary, which is a part of your LinkedIn profile, is crisp, and it kind of very in a concise and an effective way describes what your professional experience and what your virtue is all about. That would be important. And make sure all your work experience is also very well and clearly noted, because this will be very helpful for anyone who's looking out for the right people to judge. Santosh, maybe you can.
Interest. I think interest is becoming very important in LinkedIn. Skilling and interest is very important. So you can put like digital marketing is my skill. So when an advertiser, suppose just giving you a hypothetical example, you write about fundraising is yours as your skill, and if somebody is looking for a person who can help that organization to raise funds, they can actually look for you by just searching that word. So it's quite important to put your skills. Ask for endorsement. I think that's something which is very interesting, which I am also very poor at. So people will go to my LinkedIn profile and see that how much endorsement I've got. I'm very poor at, but I think please go and ask. Which I personally is my goal, that I'm going to ask people who I work with, my ex employers, my ex colleagues, the people who have reported into me, about me on the LinkedIn, so that actually helps you to get the right profile at place. And like Benjamin mentioned, uh, LinkedIn is not Facebook, LinkedIn is not Instagram. So a beach picture, a picture with a shade with two buttons open does not, for a guy, does not look a right professional photography, or a profile picture. So make sure that it should happen that if I'm going, like, people go to my LinkedIn profile today, see my picture and see me today, I'm a two different person, because this is my quarantine look or lockdown look. I never grow beard, and so I need to change my picture there, because tomorrow somebody comes and sees me and says there are two different people. So make sure that you keep the latest picture on your LinkedIn profile. Make sure that you and this is about the profile, but how do you continue? Please do not log into LinkedIn. Please do not just wait for a month to log into LinkedIn. Try and be part of a conversation. I'm sure it is going to help you to learn more about your industry, about economy as a whole, about the job markets. And this is the time when everybody is worried. I'm like, what we are worried about: two things. One, when the vaccine is going to come out and we're going to go out of home. And number two, if it doesn't come out, will I have a job? Will I have my customers paying me for my product when my supply chain is haywire? I don't have my product in the market. Will my factory run? Will I be able to pay my next EMI? I mean, like, these are the questions in everybody's mind, every member's mind, and these are the conversation which is happening there. So please understand, and as a leader, please speak about it. Please tell your employees that yes, there is a yes, we are in trouble and we need your help. So it's, yeah, quite important in both the ways. You're
There's a storm in Delhi, so I am so sorry. I completely agree with you on this thing. Benjamin and Santosh, if you can just write down few pointers in the chat window for all these people, whatever you have said, because this will be really helpful for everyone, how to actually rock their profile and how to improve their profile on LinkedIn. Because people are looking for so many insights, people are looking for so many things which they can do right now. And LinkedIn as a platform has come across as, I think it's still new to the development space. It hasn't been explored much, and this is the right time where they need to explore it much. I'll just open the floor now for a few questions.
I just want to add one thing on this one. I'll just write a URL which is called business.linkedin.com. That actually a Bible for LinkedIn. That talks about what kind of a content you should be putting, how much content. There are published case studies which you can go through the case studies industry wise. uh, Sales navigator is there, so anybody wants to fundraising can be answered there. So I'm saying that is actually one answer, because I've seen a lot of questions, and most of the questions are what needs to be done. So basically, those answers you'll get it there. Else, you know we're very happy to answer those questions, Nihal. If we can, if between three of us make all the question, we can write it and probably make a Google Doc and share it with people.
Absolutely. I think what you can do is you can just put that link in. Oh, I think, yeah, Basmati Signesh has already done it. If you can also write down the link and the pointers which you mentioned, Benjamin.
I will mention some of the pointers. I will note them down. I'm just doing that only.
Perfect. So we'll just open the floor for a few questions, and I think we have covered all the topics. So we'll just open the floor for a few questions. If anybody has questions, please raise your hand, and then we can just take the questions. So yeah, we have started getting questions. So I'll just ask Utkarsh. So I'm just lowering your hand. Utkarsh, please ask your question. Utkarsh, can you hear us?
Hello.
Yeah,
Hi. I don't know how my name is featuring as Utkarsh. This is Girish Agarwal.
yeah. Please, Girish, please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi. Thank you, Nihal, for getting this session done. And while the session was on, I've already dropped an email to you. So this is not a question but a request. Uh, I work with a social incubator, and if I could request a more structured conversation to Ropin, Santosh, and Benjamin for a bunch of our social entrepreneurs, if that can be done, that will be great.
Absolutely. I think you can just write down to them, and they would, I think, love to do it. So yeah,
I've written to you, Nihal. I'll be glad if you could connect me with them on
for,
the
for
email
sure,
IDs.
for sure.
Brilliant. Thanks, Santosh. Thanks, Benjamin.
Thanks, Girish.
Yep. No problem.
Any other questions? If anybody has any questions right now, like please ask.
Do we have a provision to post updates on LinkedIn using scheduling option? Because 9 to 5, sometimes we are too tied up in our work during the day. Now we can think of strategies to upload post on LinkedIn during late time in the day exponentially. So if we can post upload or schedule upload, it will be easier to manage a structured post for a strategy over a period of time.
Which is a very fair ask, and yes, it is possible. You can schedule your post on LinkedIn, so you can choose to post it. In fact, it also has an ability to give you the option to post the best time for your network. So please do explore. It is possible, and it is you won't need to really log in between 9 and 5 to do it. You can schedule the post as well.
Can you share the details on the chat group here just now? Or you
Let
can
me
send it across later on?
Yeah.
I'll
definitely.
send it across. I'll send it across, sir.
No
So
problem.
don't worry, we'll send it
Nice.
across to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, Udaya, can you just ask your question?
Hi, Nihal. I have a small question. May I go ahead?
Uh, it's Ravi Dhanuka. Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Thanks, Santosh and Benjamin. I just wanted to ask if LinkedIn also has some structured mentoring platforms. There would be so many entrepreneurs, employees who would need some kind of career guidance as well. So I'm not very sure, but I think I have read it somewhere that LinkedIn also has a mentoring platform, and if you could share more details about that, that would be helpful.
Santosh, you want to take this?
Yeah. So there are one which we do it individually. We mentor a lot of people, a lot of NGOs, lot of we call it plus one, and wherein the employee actually reaches out to one of the NGO, and they appoint people who we actually mentor them, make the LinkedIn profile, and make sure. And we have amazing success stories there. So as a platform, to be very honest, I'm not aware of. But in case you can give your coordinates, we can actually put you onto the social impact team.
But how can I'll just like to add, Santosh, this might be very informative for everyone. Like is LinkedIn Learning can be the platform where people can actually learn right now?
Yes, so LinkedIn Learn is a platform for, I mean, like not only for the business, LinkedIn Learn actually tells you how to play a guitar as well. So it's a great platform. So I'm just saying the courses are crisp, small, and yes, you can learn a lot of things. So that's something which is available. But when to the question of Udaya, it was more that we want somebody with
Mentorship.
mentorship and stuff. Yeah.
In
But
fact,
I
you know what? I just quickly 2 points here. As far as LinkedIn Learning is concerned, the top 5 courses currently in demand on LinkedIn Learning Solutions is how to effectively work from home, how to handle, how to be more mindful, how to, I have noted it down. In fact, coincidentally, the question came up. Uh, they all currently the courses which are doing the top 5 courses, they all related around the COVID situation. And as far as the mentoring point is concerned, uh, yes, mentoring is a very important part of everything that LinkedIn does. All our employees, all the people who are part of LinkedIn, we actively engage in mentoring lot of professionals. And it's very easy. I would suggest just write to us directly on LinkedIn, and we will be able to probably help and find you, someone who can help you out essentially.
Uh, Thanks, Benjamin, for this. I'll just take one. I think we have two more users. So one is Red Wicked saying. So I'm just lowering your hand and unmuting you, sir. Can you just ask your question? Udaya, if anybody has question, like I just. Okay, Sharik, can you ask your question?
Yeah, good morning, Shantosh and Benjamin. It has been really enriching experience to learn from you guys. One thing what I would like to understand, since I am in Assam, Guwahati, so how is LinkedIn impacting, or how is LinkedIn listening or intervening with the government to put an impact overall on the sector?
Benjamin, you are on mute.
Yeah.
Which sector did he mention?
Guwahati, Assam.
Like overall, so he's just asking like how LinkedIn is actually working in hand with the government just to create more impact or more partnerships.
Okay, so we are working with various governmental, central and state ministries and departments. Very specifically, if you ask me, we have not had any direct working experience as far as LinkedIn Marketing Solutions is concerned, which is a representative business which me and Santosh work at LinkedIn with, in terms of Guwahati or Assam. Uh, but we would actively like to engage with the state tourism and the investment departments there, which is something which we are trying to push from our side. But we have not had any direct response there yet.
Okay. So one last question we'll just take from Vasumati. Vasumati,
Yeah,
can you ask a question? Vasumati, we can't hear you. Can you? Hello.
One second. LinkedIn for nonprofits, can you touch upon that?
Yes. So the thing is, like I mentioned, there are a lot of nonprofit organizations are working using LinkedIn very effectively. And Ben and I actually got some examples because we don't work with most of them. I mean, like between in the personal capacity of me and Ben, but Cry, Smile, Goonj, Bark, they are using a lot of using the platform very well from both the point of view. One, the recruitment of volunteers, which is one of the challenge. The other one is fundraising. I've been seeing that you're quite well versed with LinkedIn because I've been seeing you posting a lot of stuff. So nonprofit.linkedin.com. Actually, the one which I mentioned, there is a sales solution which helps you to go to the prospect for either for business or for non-profit or for fundraising. So that's a sales solution business we have. If you're keen, we can actually take down your detail and put you on to somebody if you're keen on exploring that product of ours. But apart from that, like Ben and I mentioned in the past, that there is a you guys have upper edge. You have a beautiful storytelling. Your heart is the right place. Compassion is actually the word which goes with you. So use LinkedIn more for storytelling. Make sure that when you're telling a story, hashtag the one or two right current hashtag which affects that particular story. Tag a lot of people who are involved in those kind of work, and at the same time start the conversation. That's where your organic thing should work.
Thank you so much, Benjamin and Santosh. It was fabulous, and I think now I'll just like to wind up because I think we have already crossed that time. And it was a fabulous session, Benjamin or Santosh. If you want to end with any of the remarks, if you have any feedback for any of us, please right now. Yeah, Santosh, to you.
Yeah, I would. I'm very distinct to see there is a poll which Nihal, you put it whether this was useful or not. I would like to see that. I hope that you guys are expert. Yeah, you guys are expert in the field. We just try to give some stuff. I hope that was useful. Oh, lovely. 89% of the people says yes, they find it relevant. And definitely for the 5% people, let us know if we can, if you think that we missed something, and if you couldn't answer, we'll probably put you on the right way. Thanks, Nihal. Thanks, Nihal.
Yeah. Benjamin, to you.
I want to make some very quick couple of pointers. Number one is use the platform LinkedIn to effectively communicate all your requirements, be it fundraising, be it reaching out to employees, be it reaching out to prospective corporates or brands who you want to work with. Make all of that as possible by just making sure you effectively and consistently communicate on LinkedIn. That alone and itself will help you reach your goals. You don't need to spend, be organic. That's the number one. You will slowly figure out once you start doing the organic things that when you will need to start using your paid strategy as well. So begin with organic and we will work with you later on your paid. Another important thing which is very important and useful on LinkedIn would be make sure to acquire followers, and there are very few simple steps which I would want to mention because a lot of people are first timers. Make sure all your first party degrees, all your first degrees of contact, they are invited to follow your page. I think Udaya, you need to probably mute yourself.
Nihal, you can mute the participants, I guess.
I have. So I think thank you so much, everyone. And I guess this was one of the most fabulous session where a lot of insights came out from a platform and thanks to you, Benjamin and Santosh, for waking up early on a Sunday morning and giving us time, and for making this webinar successful, and looking forward to more conversations with you. And I hope you found really great insights on using LinkedIn, and looking forward on the improving path now, which Benjamin and Santosh has put us on. So I hope from posting a month to we'll be posting quite a few times a month. So let's see how that goes. And thank you so much. We are ending this webinar, and thank you so much, Santosh.
Thanks, Nehal. Thanks, you guys. Bye.